Chief Political Correspondent Vassy Kapelos is standing by. Okay, Vassy, give us the big picture, the strategy behind today's appointments. What is the real political story here?
Well, I think one of the big political stories that comes to mind right away is the idea that the Prime Minister and the people around him needed to stem the bleeding a little bit. The exit of Steven Guilbeault was an impactful one from a political perspective, both outside, particularly in Quebec, the cabinet table, but also within the Liberal caucus. I heard from a lot of people over the last week or so since that MOU was signed who were upset. We're actually like emotional in some instances about Steven Guilbeault leaving and what it signified for the government's priority or lack thereof being placed on the issue of climate change and mitigating the impacts of climate change. So I think a little bit of this, because Mark Miller is closely associated with people in the last government, is about addressing those feelings and perhaps attempting to make people in caucus and the staffers around them feel a little bit better about the direction the government is going in. I don't know necessarily if it works, but I think that's part of the political story here.
Okay,
Sandy.
so Vassy, I know you were at the press gallery dinner this weekend in Ottawa, and at the time the Prime Minister, when he spoke, suggested that a bigger shuffle will happen. This was the small one today. So do you know anything about what's coming down the road?
I think we can definitely expect a much more substantive cabinet shuffle early in the new year. This one was minor. It was essentially forced on the Prime Minister with the resignation of Steven Guilbeault, and you can see those three individuals just took a different part of the portfolio, right? There was no big changes to cabinet this time around, and my understanding is that plans are underway for something more substantive. I think there are certain files which certainly have been more problematic, and other ministers which maybe aren't serving to their full capacity that I think my understanding is that there is a desire to see moved around. I think events could always get in the way of it, particularly around the renegotiation of USMCA and what's going on with Donald Trump. But right now, all I keep hearing is the plan is tracking for a more substantive cabinet shuffle early in the new year.
Okay, Vassy, thank you.